Okay, in this video we're going to talk about how to scale a marketing agency. There's a few ways to go about it, and I think a lot of people, they struggle with scaling because it's not just getting more clients that allows you to scale. Obviously that's a part of it. You want to make more money, but it's not just about getting more money. It's about actually getting more money and staying there and staying stable. And what a lot of people do is they take on more clients, they take on more work, they take on more difficult work, and then they crumble, they fall apart, and their agency collapses, they lose clients, they lose business, and then they're back to square one, they're back to zero. Maybe they have 1 or 2 good months back to back, and then they fuck it all up because they can't handle the work, and then, they're done. So there's a few things to consider when you're trying to scale an agency. Now, in terms of let's talk about growing the revenue first, because that's what a lot of people like to hear. There's 2 ways to grow the revenue. The first way is through volume, and the second way is through leverage. So what do I mean by that? The volume approach is you simply just sign more clients. And now, there's pros and cons to both of those things, right? There's pros to signing, just having more clients on a flat retainer. And there's cons to it as well. So the pros to that, to just signing more clients and getting bigger retainers, the pros for that is, 1, your agency is more sellable. Buyers like to see a big book of business. They like to see your income divided and split across multiple sources. Because let's say if all your income was sourced from like 4 or 5 clients, they're not going to like that, because if one of those clients leaves, that's literally a 20 to 25% drop in the revenue of the company. But if you have if you have your revenue split across 20, 30, 40, 50 clients or more, well, then it's more safe. If you lose one client, then that might only represent like 2% or 3% or 4% of your revenue, which isn't going to be that much of a big deal. Your money's more secured. Another pro of that is you can standardize your service delivery a lot more. Whenever you go for like this volume approach, you have to standardize your delivery. You have to have set deliverables that don't change for any client. They sign up, what it says, on the agreement is what you get. It doesn't change for anybody, and you deliver it in the same way. There can be customization within that, but the type of thing that you're delivering them, the volume that you're giving them, everything like that, it's going to be largely the same, okay? You can have different tiers, like you can have a more expensive tier and a lower and a less expensive tier, but at the end of the day, whatever tier that the client selects, the prospect selects, that is what they're getting. It's not going to be a hyper customized approach. It's going to be a little more standardized, a little more templatized. That is actually a pro, because it makes the delivery a hell of a lot easier, and allows you to step out of the business more, which once again allows you to sell the business a lot more easily. If you can't step out of your business, you don't have an asset that you can sell. Okay, you need to be able to hire team members to do everything for you. You need to be able to hire a CEO to do it all for you. The more customized the work is, the more it relies on you, the less you're going to be able to do that, unless you're going to stay with the business and just become an employee, which you don't want to do that, obviously. So that's the volume approach. The reason why people fail when it comes to the volume approach is they don't understand hiring and they don't understand systems, okay? Let's talk about systems first. So systems is like this really vague word that people always use, like you need to have systems, blah, blah, blah. What are systems? What are they? Systems is like your project management system, and it's your standard operating procedures. What standard operating procedures are, SOPs, they're basically like a handbook that you can give to employees that has literally it's like a course. It's like a tutorial for how to run your business. So if you take on a new employee that's, they do a certain role, then you give them the SOPs relating to that role. And anytime they don't know how to do something, they can look up the SOPs and they say, okay, step 1, I do this. Step 2, I do that. Step 3, I do that. Step 4, I do that. That's your system. That's your SOPs. Now, Those take a while to do, and they can change all of the time. That's the thing, SOPs can change. But you need to build out these SOPs for every single important role in your business, so that you can literally just pass that off to people and they know exactly what to do in every single scenario. And that's the benefit of that's the beauty of a volume business, is you can create these handbooks and give them to people, and they can actually execute on it. With a more customized business, customized approach, you can still do it to a degree, but it's going to be less so, because it's going to be more custom in the moment and open to adapting. Okay, so systems, that's one thing. Second thing is hiring. A lot of people, they try to think, okay, I've got this money, I've got paid a lot of money, how can I keep the most of it? And what they do is then they pay less for talent. Okay, they go for the cheapest talent that they can get their hands on, and that's never the right approach. Because if you want to be, charging high prices, which we've talked about that before, you should be charging high prices. Then if you charge a client high prices, they expect to have a top 1%, experience. And you can't do that, having them interact with people from the third world that don't speak English. You need to be hiring people from the first world, people from Europe, people from North America, who have fluent English, who are well educated, who understand, who have social skills, who can speak, who are actually skilled at what they do. They understand how to give a good quality professional experience to somebody. If you're taking all this money from clients and you're just hiring some, person from the third world, you're not going to keep a client, because that's just a terrible client experience. They feel like they've been robbed. They feel like they've given you the money and you've just hired some, random freelancer from the third world. They just think to themselves, I could have done that myself. I could have just went on Fiverr and hired some third world person from the third world to do it for me, right? You don't want to do that. You want to make the right hires. And the way you do that is you pay a little bit more for the role, okay? You don't look for the cheapest hire. You obviously have to look for the best hire that you can possibly afford and try to pay them what they ask for. Now, obviously, you need to go through a lot of different candidates to find that person, but when you find that person who has an extremely good skill set, be willing to pay more, because that is the person that's going to help you actually scale this business and keep clients, okay? And for key employees, people that actually affect your client retention, meaning the work that they do directly influences whether a client will or will not stay with you, right? If an employee can influence that decision whatsoever by the quality of work they output, you need to be giving them bonus structures. You need to be incentivizing them to deliver better results, give a better experience. A bonus could be, if you hit this certain result for a client, you're going to get this particular cash bonus. Or if a client renews their contract, you're going to get this cash bonus at the end of the year. You always want to be incentivizing your best employees that directly affect retention. You always want to be incentivizing them with bonuses, okay? So that's hiring. So there's systems and hiring. The second approach is the leveraged approach to scaling an agency. Now, in this approach, you're going to want to be doing low volume in terms of clients. You're going to have less clients, but you're going to make a lot more money per client. And that will only work with certain kinds of offerings, certain kind of, services. If you're just making logos or whatever, it's not going to work. You can't just have like 5 logo making clients and then make millions of dollars a year. It doesn't work like that. Your service offering needs to be tied directly to revenue. So maybe you're running ads, maybe you're writing funnels, maybe you're doing email marketing, maybe you're, let me think. Maybe you're monetizing organic brands, organic personal brands, all these kind of things. Maybe you need to, there's a guy being an idiot here in the car. You need to have an offering directly tied to making money. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to do the leveraged approach. You have to be making clients more money. And you say to a client, hey, I'm going to make you a whole bunch of money. I want a cut. I want 10%. I want 20% of everything that I make you. And what that means is, if you have a client who is spending a lot on ads, They have a lot of subscribers to their email list. They have a big following on social media. They get a lot of traffic to their landing pages. If you can come in and influence that and make them more sales from that existing flow, then a single client could be paying you an unlimited amount of money every single month. You just have to find the right client. Now, the pros of that are less clients is honestly less stressful. Even if you have to do more work for a client or more difficult work for a client, it's less stressful to have to do that over less accounts, right? So your actual lifestyle of the agency is gonna be better, okay? Because you're doing less work for a client. The other benefit of that is your income can scale a lot easier. You don't need to, I should rephrase that, it can scale a lot easier while maintaining margins. Whenever you go in the volume approach, your margins can shrink because the more clients you take on means the more people you have to hire, the more systems you have to implement. And generally with a volume-based business, your margins are going to take a hit. With a leverage business, you can have one or two highly skilled employees, whether, like, let's say you're running ads. You have a really good media buyer and you've got a really good copywriter, and you incentivize them both. You can keep your client, your overhead to a minimum, right? So your income is going to scale and your overhead generally is not going to increase either. Your margins are going to stay the same. So that's a pro of the leveraged model. The cons of the leverage model, however, is that your income is it's extremely based on your performance. If you are not truly good at delivering results, you're not going to keep a client. And if you do keep a client, you're not going to make much money because you're not making them that much money. So you are directly eating what you kill. And if you don't kill, you don't eat. So if you're the kind of person that isn't going to put 110% into a project to absolutely make sure that they're going to get results and make money, that approach isn't for you. Because you have to be really good at the skill in order to actually monetize it. Another con of the leveraged approach is that because so much of your income is spread over so few clients, if one client leaves, your income will take quite a large proportionate hit. Like I said earlier, if you have 4 clients paying you a ton of money each month and one leaves, that's a direct 25% boom, cut off your monthly recurring revenue, right? So you're much more open to risk on that side. Another con of the leverage model is you're going to find it extremely difficult to sell that business. You need to be absolutely elite at hiring and elite at systems to systemize a leverage business like that, because it's so dependent on you, the founder, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be you or someone who's a partner in the business who is the mastermind behind the results. They're the one that's getting the results. They're the one that's writing the copy, running the ads, making the creatives. And that, and if they're an owner, they obviously, when you sell the business, they're going to want to get out of the business too. So that means you have to find someone else equally as good as your partner or you to hire in the business and incentivize correctly in order for you to actually sell that company. And that's a lot harder than it looks. It's very, very difficult. Most people don't get to that point with a leverage business model because it is so hard to find somebody like that. So that's a con. But if you can nail all of these things, both business models, just in summary, like both business models are excellent. They both have their pros and cons, their benefits. With a volume-based business, you're gonna have an asset that you can exit for a multiple, and you can probably cash out, depending on how big you get and how well you structured everything. You're gonna be able to cash out a few million if you've done well enough. And with a leverage business, but on the volume side, your margins are gonna be lower. You're gonna have less profit in the meantime. And then with the leverage business, you're not gonna be able to sell, but you're gonna have much better cash flow in terms of profits. Your profit margin is gonna be higher, and you're probably gonna have a better lifestyle business because you have to. Phone storage died. Anyway, in summary, volume business, you have an asset that you can sell, but your margins are gonna be lower, but you can step out of the business a lot easier and have it be a bit more passive. With a leverage business, you won't be able to step out of the business as easily. You're probably not going to be able to sell that business unless you're extremely good at hiring in systems. And third thing, another positive, you'll have probably higher cash flow with higher margins and probably a better lifestyle with the business, because there's less clients to deal with and you can have a tighter relationship with each of them. So that's the benefits. That's how to scale an agency. If you liked the video, hit like, follow, subscribe. If you leave a comment, I will absolutely 100% respond to it. So ask me anything. If you need help with growing an agency, just comment whatever you're struggling with and I will give you a detailed answer. I'll see you in the next one.